And while we were making the film, something occurred, obviously. James Randi's partner of 26 years, Jose Alvarez, was arrested. And it's quite interesting that a lie or a deception that had been kept for 26 years happened to come to light during the year process that we were making the film. Obviously, it sent the film in a whole new direction. Not a whole new direction, but it did extend the filming, and it did make it a little more difficult to tell the story. But it was along the same lines of the film itself. And during that process, we also kind of turned the camera on the audience just a little bit and made them question everything, including the documentary that they were currently watching.
Just FYI, I'm going to ask as few questions as possible because typically the audience questions are way more interesting than the moderator's questions. So if you have questions, there are microphones there, and you can line up and start preparing to ask questions.
Are we forgetting something?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, there's a couple other people here that you should meet. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce you, Davey Pena and James the Amazing Randi. He's a lot bigger in person, isn't he?
I had the honor of meeting these two people last night, so I got a little time to talk to them. And I want to start with Davey. Last night, first of all, I want to apologize for hugging you like 15 times last night, but after watching this movie and knowing that you're still here, I was overwhelmed by just joy that you're in our presence. But you told me it's not over. So can you catch us up on your struggle to remain in the United States, to be here?
Well, after all this situation happened, the government has been very collaborative with us in considering, our relationship, well, they just decided to collaborate with us, but it's still a kind of vulnerable situation. But we're working towards trying to normalize my own. In the meantime, we're together, and that's all that matters.
And things are improving legally in that respect enormously, day by day. If only we could get over some foreign wars that we're concerned with. But we're very pleased with the way things are going, and we're just holding our collective breath.
Randi, I understand you are a professed atheist, right? And I'm still kind of on my spiritual journey, and I'm somewhere in the agnostic atheist. But I still can't help the fact that I want to believe, right? I want to believe in Bigfoot. I want to believe that there's a Loch Ness Monster. I want to believe in aliens. I want to believe that my father isn't just dead. Do you ever find yourself just wanting to believe?
Well, it's not a case of most people in your situation who just want to believe. In many cases, you need to believe. And that need is something that I have seen conquered so successfully that very often I get people coming to us after one of these showings and looking at us right straight in the eye and saying, something you can't buy. You can't buy this at all. You made a great deal of change in my life. Thank you. You can't buy that statement. It has to be given to you freely and willfully. It's just an astonishing thing to hear people saying that. And if I think that the work of the James Randi Educational Foundation has brought relief to a lot of people in that respect, I'm very grateful. That's been my life's work, and I'm very serious about it, and I just hope that it can and will continue, and there's every indication that it will continue, even after I'm gone. So I'm very grateful for that.
If there was one thing that you could believe in that was, supernatural or extraterrestrial or whatever, what would it be?
Well, it wouldn't be spoon bending. No, that takes more belief. I would rather buy the crystal bracelets and straighten up and fly right. If you ever get the guts to do it, join the camp. Let's get real and let's shake hands on the thing. But no, he's not quite willing.
I considered bringing my keys up here to see, but then I realized that I wouldn't be able to get in my house or my car.
That's I think, good thinking. Good thinking.
Right. You've been incredibly generous with your time here in Louisville. I've seen pictures of you just about, everywhere. You're visiting the 21C and the Arts and Craft Museum and Why Louisville. And what does traveling in support of this film mean for you?
Well, I must say this, and I'll say it on behalf of Davey. I'm sure you'll agree with me. I traveled the world. I've been international traveler for 86 years. You get a chance to get around, unless you're not doing anything. And I have visited certainly most capitals of the world, if not all. And I got off the airport in Louisville here, and I looked around and I said, I don't think I've ever been in this airport before, which is quite a surprise to me. Quite a surprise to me, believe me. Because I know these airports internationally, of course. And then it occurred to me, I wonder if this is my first visit to Louisville, Kentucky. And it turned out that it was. And what an enormous surprise and pleasure it has been, folks. I mean this very sincerely now. The people in this town and the experiences that David and I have had here are really shaking us both up. And we're so happy to have been here at all, and we will be back. That's a threat.
Tyler, can you tell us how this film became involved with Idea Festival Film Festival?
The film premiered at Tribeca this year, the Tribeca Film Festival in New York City. It's played all over the place. Just tonight, it's actually playing in Milwaukee, in Iceland, and I think somewhere else concurrently. And I chose you. And I think it was through Gil Holland, who is an executive producer on the film, and I mentioned previously. I think he mentioned it, and we were happy to oblige.
And we chose to come here to Louisville rather than Iceland, you see. Well, we were in Iceland. I don't know, another matter altogether, but I just thought that this is an exception in our regular schedule, and I'm so glad that we did come to Louisville. It's been a delight, total delight.
My final question to you is, Randy, what made you change your mind about including the footage of kind of your revelation about Davey and his identity?
Yeah, that seems a little odd, and it needs a bit of an explanation. I thank you for that question. When I got this reversal of everything, it had all turned around on both of us, of course, and Davey was taken away in handcuffs. It was such a shock to me that I hadn't had time to get over it by the time I sat down with the fellows and made those statements. And I think I meant it at the time that I said it, but believe me, it was not more than 24 hours later before I called the two of them. And I said, guys, use it, go ahead, because I made an agreement with you. And the agreement was, as Oliver Cromwell was supposed to have said to his portraitist when he was painting his face, he said, warts and all. And it's a good way to live. It's a good way to live, and I looked back on it and I said, yes, this has got to be told. I've got to be 100% honest, So I am the honest writer, I guess.
Would you honor us with an illusion?
The miracle of the semi-religious nature? Okay, I think I can manage that. Would you hold that for me, young man? I have concealed in my pocket here. Oh, wonderful prop. Yeah, you have no idea. Would you? Thank you. This is a box of matches, you see. And pipe smokers, I'm told, use these all the time. I don't smoke anything. But it's about half full. And this is a miracle that I showed in many of my lectures in past years, just to show people how simple things can be and how confusing they can be and how deceptive. Box of matches like this doesn't seem to have any magical powers, but watch this. I'm just going to lay it on the back of my hand. And now all I have to do is just gesture at it, and it will rise up slowly into a standing position. And there, look at that. Now, if that's not semi-religious, I mean, so you have to be satisfied with that. And if you gesture again, it will go down again, it'll lay on the back of your hand like that. But I don't know how it's done, you see. Here's the secret, here's the secret. You can do this at home and fool the kids and lie to them and become a musician. Okay? What you do is you leave the box slightly open like this, and when you put it down the back of your hand, you close it to pinch some of the skin on the back of your hand. And of course, you have to be bred for years to have that skin. In Tibet, it's a long way to go to learn this trick, but then you simply tighten up the skin of the back of your hand, and up she goes, and then when you relax your head, down she goes again, and up she goes. I would like to have two strong gentlemen to join me on the stage here, and I can show you something, as I say, that you saw several times in the film. Oh boy.
George.
How do you listen? Your name is?
Mark's name.
Mark. Okay, sir? Okay, Mark and James, one on either side. All right. Now, I forgot to ask. I could just speak way out loud. How about this? No, all right. Bush. Do you happen to have a piece of rope about that long, sir?
Yeah, not today.
You don't? Oh, I'm counting on you. Well, it happens by a strange and somewhat contrived coincidence that I do. And this is sash cord, used to be called clothesline, and stuff like that when we actually hung the clothes up. You wouldn't remember that. I'm going to ask you to, I'll just pull my sleeves up a bit, or I've got to remove the cheap wristwatch too, just in case it gets damaged. There we go. But I don't know the bag. All right, now I'm going to ask these two gentlemen to hold on each on one end of the rope. You hold on to that one, sir. You hold on to that one, Mark. Thank you. Now hold on it very tightly. That's very good. It's good work. All right, now really tighten that knot up. Come on. There you go. All right. Come on. Breathe. Now tie another knot on top and make sure it's good and tight. Don't tear my suit, I'll have to buy it. Really heat on it. Come on. Oh, come on. Yes, heat on it. That's better. Put your finger on the knot and tie another knot on top of that one. Did they get a reef knot? More or less, okay. All right, is there room for another knot? Okay, go ahead. I'm a sport. I got all night. I may have to use all night, too. Oh, right, very good, thank you. Now, Hands have been tightly tied, as any fool can plainly see. See? And I'm going to try to extricate myself from this. Not only that, I'm going to get out of it. But I need a little bit of help. Stand back a little bit. Kind of thing that I learned to do. Are there any magicians in the audience, by the way?
Amateur or professional?
Oh, amateur. Okay. We'll talk. Okay? That's the killer rope guy, but it's my version of it. And though this may be not part of the specialty you have in magic, I will talk to you afterwards and tell you something cute about it. And the rest of you, ladies and gentlemen, I can't tell you what a delight, well, I've already told you, what a delight it is to be before an audience of this quality, and particularly in this particular town. I'm going to come back. I'm sure Davey echoes that along with me. We want to come back, so invite us sometime, would you? I'm on my way to Australia.
Can we take some questions from the audience?
Oh, yes, indeed.
Does
Okay,
anybody
let's
have-
take a seat here. Oh, yeah, keep your seats. This is all bad. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So I'm very thankful to you guys for coming down to Louisville to come see us. And I'm very honored that I'm a business person. You have done a lot of things in life, and it's fantastic. And I hope to live an honest life, especially in the business world where things can get dishonest. I hope to keep it as honest as possible. It's fun to do. I want to keep a good life. But a question I have for you guys is, you never showed us how you bent the spoon.
You got a spoon?
And there's a reason why you didn't. I'm curious why you didn't bend the spoon, and if you can bend it, it'd be great.
Well, spoon, I don't.
Does anyone have a spoon? Yeah, no, people don't carry spoons. We did not show or tell how a spoon is bent, or any of the other tricks and how they were done. And one of the reasons, well, there's many reasons. One of the reasons is because there's so many ways that spoons are bent that we couldn't really go into how many and how, and so many ways. But also, I think there's also the reality of keeping the illusion. We don't really want to say. And Randy, I mean, I've watched hundreds of hours of footage. Randy essentially lived his life so that we could make a documentary about him. He kept everything.
I didn't get born just for that.
Either way, I do appreciate it.
Okay.
So, he kept every paper, every article. He recorded on VHS every television appearance. And we watched hundreds of hours of him on TV. And he never revealed how it was done. He would just say, Uri Geller does it, and I do the same thing, but it's not a trick. So we intentionally, and this was actually something...
It is a trick.
It is a trick, right, it is a trick.
I gotta watch him every minute.
By the way, I don't know if you caught up, but Uri Geller has just come out and he's saying that, you know, the new iPhone, that it bends a little bit? He's claiming that it's people's minds doing it. He's so shameless that he actually said, Apple should hire me as their spokesman. But then he said, just to cover his bases, he goes, but I love BlackBerry too, because I use BlackBerry, so he's so shameless. Anyways, so we decided not to use or reveal how things were done. There's a few moments, like in the Alpha Project, when the boys move the metal, the thing. We don't say how that is, how they do that. And then we kind of wanted to keep that as a secret in a way, the magician's code, if nothing else.
Yes, I believe it, because magicians are honorable entertainers. Now, if you saw a fellow doing a trick like that, you should have the good common sense to believe that it's entertainment. But if he tells you that he's a psychic, that he's got the magical powers, or they're given to him by heaven or by hell, one or the other, you've got to think twice about that. You've got to use some common sense and some judgment. These things, these tricks some of them are pretty damn good. And they've been in the business for centuries, literally for centuries. So take this as entertainment and enjoy it as entertainment. Because all plays and movies and such are all tricks that they're doing on you, but you should understand that and you should accept it for what it is.
Next question over there.
Well, I got to start off, unfortunately, he took my question. But the other thing is two things, actually. Why, I'm just, you're a massively intelligent person, and I'm not saying that I know anything, no comparison or whatever, but I don't put religion and extraterrestrials on the same kind of plane, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
One is the creation of man's creation, man, religious, whatever. The other one is, you know, there's billions of planets out there, and as my friend said, you know, if God only put a life on this earth, what a waste.
Well, that's true.
Truth
It
be
is.
told, I was the one who did that.
Oh, okay. So I had to come up with a second question. I work with a lot of students. If someone wants to get into magic, what route or in today's world do you think they should take?
Good question. First of all, buy one of my books. So I only have one book which explains magic tricks, and it's a World of Wizards or something like that. No, not country. No.
It's a different book for
It's a thin, yeah. It's a trick book for kids, but you can look it up under James Randi on the internet, and they'll have it, I'm sure. No. Oh, that's the picture. That's the big picture book. I've written 11 after all. But no, the point is that you can learn it. Young people, and I would say teenagers, and even earlier, can learn from some magic books, and most libraries have a certain section which will have conjuring books in it, or magic books if you want to call them that. But the other thing is, visit your local magic store. Now, I know in a city this size, there are magic stores. In fact, I was in one of them just the other day. And go to the magic stores and ask them for a book on basic tricks. Card tricks, if you will, or tricks done with small materials. And start with that. And don't think that you're just a kid. These tricks are not very exciting. If you learn to do them very well, look at that little matchbox thing. Now that used to be on the back of card fake boxes when I was a kid, but you can do something like that that is quite mystifying. So don't sell yourself short. There are ways to get into the magic clubs as well. There are magic clubs in every city around the world, believe me. Look them up. They're there, and you can find them through the magic shops. And if you want to go that way, I encourage you to do it. You don't have to become a magician, but you can sure as hell interest the girls.
We have time for these two last questions. So we'll start
Dana
with-
had a comment.
Oh, sorry.
No. Just I would like to say something. Yes.
Okay. Well, we'll take this question then.
James, I just want to say, I read your book, The Mask of Nostradamus,
Oh, yes.
and I thought that was a great book. And I think what you do is a very great service. But one of the questions I had was, have you ever seen a trick yourself, like from another magician or whoever, illusionist, that you said, you know what, that is absolutely amazing. I have no clue how they're doing this.
Well, that's a question I get from time to time, as you might imagine. I have, yes. But see, the second time, I know the solution right away because I go away and I think about it, and I think there are only two possibilities, or maybe four possibilities. And if I see it a second time, if I have a videotape of it particularly, I will be able to solve it. But the point is, it doesn't make it a bad trick because I was able to solve it, not at all. Because I have seen some things, well, I try to go to magic shows and just sit there and not try to solve the tricks. I want to see the entertainment value in it. And I do that with all magic shows that I go to see. And I hope we would all do exactly the same thing. Enjoy the entertainment and the spirit of the thing and why it is offered to you as entertainment.
And one more question, do you have a favorite magician or illusionist?
Well, if I were to say that, I'd be in big trouble. In big
My
trouble.
king.
Oh, well, Matt King is one. Yeah, I'm saying he's right from here.
Yes.
Oh, yes, he's a native and a fellow named Lance Burton. You may have heard of him.
We have a
Oh,
long
yeah.
storied history of magicians.
And Lance is, well, a good friend of mine, magnificent gentleman, and very kind and very understanding, generous with everything, believe me. And Mac King and Lance Burton, they're so close to me. I can tell you, I really feel beholden to them because they helped me in many cases where I needed some assistance in particular directions. Mac is a character, and the only trouble is the way he dresses on stage. He dresses in old sofas. All his costumes look like renovated sofas or something like that. But that's part of the charm of the gentleman. So let's hear it from Mac King and Lance Burton. Okay.
Final question?
Hi, I'm feeling kind of brave right now because I didn't know you were actually going to be here today until a few hours ago. So I'm sorry for my attire. Everyone's dressed really nice, but I was so excited to see you because I've seen your TED Talks and I've seen you on YouTube. I've been a huge fan of everything you say about atheism and skepticism in general. And my question is actually rather negative, but I was wondering, halfway through watching this film, as you're seeing all these people are so willing to be deceived and they actually prefer it and enjoy the romanticism, and you were getting criticized just for trying to tell the truth, what made you keep going and say maybe they deserved, you didn't say maybe they deserved to be deceived. You pushed through using your compassion, obviously. You have more than most to keep doing it for so long, but I just wondered what made you not, how did you not give up and didn't decide that people actually deserve to be deceived if that's what they seem to prefer?